And there we go. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Gabe Barrientos, and career advisor here at Texas A&M University, San Antonio. Really happy that you're here listening to us. And this is the first part of our pop-up series. So over the next few weeks, we'll have different pop-up series, different areas, different fields. So today we're really happy to be joined with Lisa Sullivan and Nan Palmero. So let me introduce our guests. So our first guest, Lisa. So Lisa is a former educator. She kind of turned PR, digital marketing. She's got over 15 years experience in the field. She received her Bachelor of Science at Salem State University in Salem, Massachusetts, and currently working remote just outside Raleigh as an inside analyst for WEVO conversion, which is based in Boston. So, so really happy to have you, Lisa, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And our next guest is Nan Palmero. So he's currently the director of marketing and office furniture liquidations. So it's the largest used office furniture retailer here in San Antonio, and he has a bachelor and master's degrees, both in business from Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. So thank you, Nan, for joining us today. Really, thank you. And let's see. So really, we just want to kick off and today's conversation. Really, just kind of want to hear from you. So, what kind of got you interested in this field? Interested in this, what you do? So, I'll turn it to. Let's start off with Lisa. So, what kind of first started this pursuing this field and what you do?
Well, I received my bachelor's in education from Salem State University, as you just mentioned, and I taught for 10 years. Most of it was on the whatever that side of the brain is, the creative side. So you're writing and social studies, that genre. And I taught enough writing that I felt like when it was time for me to get out of education, I wanted to be able to use those skills in a different way. So flash forward a couple of years later, I was working in television here in the Raleigh market and doing a little bit of PR, a little bit of social media, a little digital media. And that's kind of how I transformed from an educator to a marketing guru, a PR guru, however you want to explain that. So my interest level literally comes from having the experience in writing, enjoying teaching writing, but then taking it to another level and really honing in on those skills to develop a different career set. So I think that pretty much answers your question.
Awesome, thanks. And what about you, Nan?
Yeah, so after graduating with my bachelor's degree, I went to law school for a year and realized that was not the right fit for me. I did a year of it, studied really hard, did awful, just horrific. So I decided that wasn't the right path for me. And so I went back and got a master's degree, wrapped that up in 11 months. It was a thing that was a better fit for who I am and what I like to study and what makes sense to me. So that was all in Corpus Christi, and I got connected from one friend to another. He said, "You need to meet my friend Eric in San Antonio." And so I was on my way to Dallas to go apply for different jobs. And this was back before there were, lots of recruiters and online platforms and things like that. And so I met up with Eric in San Antonio. We talked and went on to Dallas and applied for a few different positions. Eric ended up hiring me to do some project work for some research and things like that on business consulting opportunities that he was working on. Well, after working together on a few projects, he offered me a job and said, "Would you like to come to San Antonio and work together on doing business consulting? You clearly understand the research and the work that we're doing, and we're reading the same books." And I said, "Sure, what would I do and how does it work?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Sounds good." So I packed everything up and moved to San Antonio. That was about 14 years ago. And so we worked together at a company called Sales by 5 that helped companies increase their sales by working on marketing and sales and executive training and team building. So when A&M San Antonio talks about strengths, that was a big thing that I had done through Marcus Buckingham when Marcus had written a book with Gallup And then he departed Gallup and created the Marcus Buckingham Company. That was an offshoot of it. I saw Marcus speak at a Fortune magazine conference. That's how I learned about it. And we used that for recruiting for a large oil and gas company here in San Antonio. And so we did that for a number of years. Other opportunities presented themselves. So I went to work for a cybersecurity firm, and then worked at A&M San Antonio for about 3.5 years. And in that window, Eric had wrapped up with Sales by Five, and by mistake, he'd fallen into this used office furniture venture by selling his office furniture because he was going to work from home. And he thought it was really fun. Really fun. And so, about 1.5 years ago, he goes, well, you want to work together? He had grown the followership. He had taken over an old Lax building here on Bandera, so it's almost 46,000 square feet. And he said, do you want to get the band back together? So basically all the things that we taught executives and teams how to do when we were doing business consulting, we do it here at the store. And so that's how it's been able to grow, and we've gotten dramatic news coverage over it, and it's a lot of fun. I get to wear shorts to work every day, so it's pretty great, and shirts with sharks on them.
Well, awesome. And it seems like for you, you've come, kind of made it full circle back to your friend Eric. So kind of during that loop, yourself as well as you, Lisa, what pieces from your education do you feel like you utilize, or what have you drawn from your education, career and your background?
Well, considering that I'm in marketing and PR, knowing how to write a proper essay is extremely important. Also, knowing how to just write a promotional ad is important. So, I think most of through my education at Salem, I would have to say any of the different classes that I took that related to writing became something important for both an education standpoint as well as for a marketing and a PR standpoint. I think too, being an educator, you're standing in front of people every day. So having the ability to do public speaking in some way, shape, or form, and of course in today's society, it's virtual now, at least, and maybe going forward, it might become a hybrid situation, but knowing how to speak to people and being prepared for that opportunity is also important. So public speaking type classes, things like that, I think were probably the things that prepared me the most for both an education type of position as well as a marketing and a PR type of position. If I think back even further, because it's been 30 some odd years, I'll be honest. But if I think back even further, I would have to say that also understanding how to use software is important. Like I know today's kids pretty much know what they're how to use a Word document or an Excel document, but some don't actually know the ins and outs of some of the more advanced versions of those. And so I think not just learning how to word process, but learning how to create a good presentation is important. And back in the day, we didn't have stuff like that. So I had to learn that on the fly and on a business standpoint when I was working for NBC 17, actually. That was when I first started using a lot of the presentation skills. So I would say, to wrap that up, I would say that from an educational standpoint, having the writing classes, the public speaking classes, and then of course having software instruction that would be beneficial to you would be extremely important in any career, whether you're going to be going to work in the career that you're going to school for, or perhaps you decide to change your model through school, or even when you get out of school. I think that's the most important.
Anything to add on from your experiences?
I really would echo a lot of what Lisa said, right? Understanding how to present and speak to people is a huge thing, because whether you believe it or not, you're in sales, you're trying to sell an idea, you're trying to sell the kids on taking a bath that night. It doesn't matter. It's your entire life. You're selling something. You're selling a nonprofit that you want people to be a part of, to join you at a dinner party. it's important to understand that everybody's in sales forever in their entire life. And so if you can practice the public speaking like Lisa talked about, and feel comfortable in presenting an idea in a cohesive way, I think that was something very valuable. That, look, building PowerPoints is not a fun way to spend your time. It ended up being a game for me on how fast I could get those things completed and be prepared enough to go and speak in public to do so. And then when you're in a business or an organization, maybe you do want to get some marketing and PR out there to tell a story. If a reporter contacts you and says, I want to come in the next 30 minutes, are you available? That you can put together a message that will get your point across in a fast way that has enough sound bites in it that they will use it. Because otherwise, if you're rambling too much, they're going to cut it into little pieces and it's not going to be what you said. So be quick on that. Understand that you're always in sales. And also the team portion of school where you're working on a project together, that's the rest of life. You're not going to do anything in a vacuum. So get ready. Somebody's not going to do a great job. They're not going to carry their load, and you're just going to have to expect that that's going to be the case. And you get to decide what role you're going to play in a situation like that forever.
I want to add to branding, I think, is important. What you were just saying about you're always selling something, know your brand. I think that is just as important, because everybody has a brand. A mother has a brand, a janitor has a brand, a marketing exec has a brand. And as an individual person, you have a brand. So I think, classes that relate to branding and understanding what that is extremely important, so that when these students are going out into the real world, they understand that they carry a certain persona that people are going to be looking to for expertise and that sort of thing as well. So I wanted to mirror what Nan just said about sales and being in sales.
No, that's definitely a good point. I mean, especially now, and I know people are probably expanding their brand, especially now, since we are in the virtual environment, trying to see, how can I expand myself, whether that's, what I can do, but also adding, what y'all mentioned, like these extra softwares, being able to be that resource, be that person. Oh, yes, I can, I know how to use, name whatever platform you want, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, whatever. So just being that person. So expanding yourself and expanding that brand. What kind of, I know, you're starting to hit on this, but what are some of the challenges that y'all faced over the years within the field? We'll start off with challenges first, and then I want to hear what are some of maybe achievements.
I'm going to tell you from my perspective, from a marketing challenge, is that you've got everything from budgets to C-suite buy-in. And C-suite, for students who may not know, your CEOs, your CFOs, your COOs, that sort of thing. Resources, time, and not just the budgeting, but time and people that can assist you with your marketing. And this, Nan, from your perspective of what you do, you have people that are underneath you, around you, that also help out with making sure that you hit your goals and your objectives every day. So I think that's a big challenge, or that's a group of challenges. But the other challenge that I face the most, and the one that I talk about a lot, is ROI. I hate the term, but at the same time, I love the term. I hate the term because I think there's so much emphasis on those numbers, and there's not enough emphasis on the quality of the ROI. It's mostly quantity, quantity, quantity. And you want to make sure that whatever your product or service is that you are marketing, that the people that you are marketing to are actually using it and receiving good results from it. If they're not, then all the numbers in the world are not going to make a difference. And so I think, from a challenging standpoint with that, trying to get C-suite buy-in to understand the importance of social and digital marketing, and especially social media, which could be a whole other conversation we can have at a different time. But to get their buy-in for that, ROI is just a horrible term, because people are so concerned about those numbers, and they're not spending as much time understanding the quality of where those numbers are taking them. So those are my challenges. Nan, do you have something that you want to add to that?
I was going to suggest that one of the challenges in just dealing with people in general is understanding that we have to move in the same direction and row at the same time to get to where we're going, right? That if we don't understand what the different parts of the business are trying to accomplish, and having just kind of a holistic view of where we're going and what we're trying to do, then you may end up pulling a great ROI in some metric and something else falls apart, right? We hit our sales numbers, but all of our customers hate us, right? So there's an important thing in that for us in retail. We're looking for, yes, of course, we're trying to increase the revenue that we do each day. But one of the major metrics that we recognize for us are Google reviews. Okay, so it's a very practical experience. Are you having a great experience? Did people get greeted? Did they feel unpressured by the folks that work here? Did they feel like they were helped and cared for and had a really great experience that they want to tell their friends about? Well, if all I'm worried about is a number of how many chairs I sold today, but you hated it here, then you're probably not going to come back and you're not going to tell your friends about it. And we're going to have a different problem. Then the ROI can shift to customer service and we can have a revenue drop. So it's really important to understand the overall picture as to where you're trying to go and how you make that balance and that dance.
Just a question for you, Nan. So I know you mentioned Google reviews. So how much emphasis do y'all really put, like, say, on Google or Yelp or anything like that? I'm just curious because, like, for example, my brother always leaves a review, and at first I was kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. But how much does it matter in y'all's eyes?
It matters enough that we've spent significant amounts of money to have a platform to be able to collect those from customers, all of them. And because we've done so in the past 14 months, we've picked up 1,000 more reviews on Google alone. Okay, with a score of 4.9, which is practically the highest you can get. No one with a significant amount of reviews will ever hit 5.0. It's just not algorithmically possible. If you see that, let me know. I have never seen it before in my life. But here's the beautiful thing. Now that we're 1,156, I think is where we're at as of this morning. More and more people. How'd you find us? Google. Because I sit at customer service on my computer. Customer walks up. Hi, how's it going? Have you been here before? No. Okay, how'd you find us? And then I listen and I'm making a mental note. Did they say Google? Did they say Facebook? My friend told me about it. I drove by. All those little things matter to me. So what I've noticed is that as my Google reviews have gone up, more people are saying, I found you on Google. You guys had the highest reviews by far. So I came here because it's hard to trick 1,000 people to leave a review for you that are good. And so those things really count. And it's the same thing in life. Like if people are walking around talking about how great you are, lots and lots of people, you're probably going to have a great experience when they meet you. They're already anticipating that you're a wonderful individual who's either fun or great to work with or intelligent or smart or whatever the thing is that they say about you. Google reviews are the equivalent of that online.
I would agree. I would agree with that without question, especially when you're in your industry where you're working with a whole lot of product and moving parts. It makes a difference. In the current industry that I'm in, on the data side of marketing, it is a digital solution product for different businesses. And so we rely on a different version of the Google reviews. It's called G2. If you're familiar with that at all, it helps for any company that has a digital solution software for people to review that software versus a review of a brick and mortar store. And so we look at ours. As a matter of fact, I looked at ours today through another seminar I was in at work. And it was very interesting to me to see the difference between how we look at those reviews and the conversation behind those reviews. And then from an old person who's been in the promo side of marketing to see how we look at the brick and mortar reviews and product reviews and how the two correlate sometimes and how they don't. So having good positive reviews is definitely a plus no matter what your industry is in.
Great points. So what about, I know we talked about some obstacles and challenges y'all face. What about the flip side? So what have been some of the greatest, I guess, marks, achievements, however you want to define those, in your field?
Well, I would have to say, I'm going to go back to the word ROI again. I said a little while ago that I hate it and I love it at the same time. I hate it for its numbers, but I love it for what it stands for. And I would have to say, in my previous positions where I've been on the outside, the other side of marketing, what I love the most is when I see that a customer that I have or client that I'm working with, or a member of an organization that I'm a board member, a nonprofit that I'm a board member of, when I see those people actually enjoy whatever it is that I'm offering them or the company I'm working for is offering them, and they're seeing the results, they're seeing the positive behind it, that to me is as a extreme positive, and it helps me enjoy what I'm doing. It helps me want to keep doing what I'm doing and working with the companies that I'm working with or the organizations I'm working with. So that to me is a huge positive, even if the word is, or the phrase is ROI. I think, when I see that, it's just very helpful. And it reminds me too of when I was a teacher. Every time I had students that mastered something, that mattered to me. It's the same concept, different industry.
Right. Non, what about you?
Wholly agree, right? When you can provide a response to a pain and help alleviate it, there's nothing like it. I don't care if I'm selling you a $10 chair, right? If you've been sitting at your dining room chair for 6 months because of COVID and dying there, because it's not an office chair, it hurts. And so, you can help people out, point them in the right direction, show them certain things that they wouldn't have considered. Look, I get it. The retail, especially furniture stores, get a really bad rap because people are on commission and they follow you around and you feel creepy and you hate it. We don't do that. So I'm walking up, I've got bright orange tennis shoes on with big feet, and I go, "Hey, how's it going? Welcome. Have you been here before? How'd you find us? Great. Are you looking for anything in particular? Okay, cool. No one here's on commission, so any of us can help you wander around. We're just going to say hello every once in a while." It basically feels like the Gap back in the 90s, right? That's it. And so you can help people do that. So I think that's one of the great things is when you see them in an area and they're kind of messing with the chair, and you're right, you go, do you have 60 seconds? I'll walk you through this and then I will leave you alone. And so they'll laugh and you show them, and they feel really great about that. I think that's one thing. Another thing is celebrating the wins of going back to the ROI. When you have those goals and you achieve them or exceed them, that's something to celebrate with your team. And it's really great because the only way you can have a great customer experience and hit those goals and achieve the things that you want to achieve as a team is by working as a team. Otherwise, it's not as much fun. You're probably not going to hit those goals. And if you do, somebody's going to hit the goals and somebody's not going to hit their goals. And it's not as great. When everybody succeeds together, it's so much more fun. And the last thing that I would say about it is when you do have those wins, you've got to make hay about it. You've got to tell people that your team is awesome and that you guys succeeded in a fun or at least an interesting way, because you have to be your own best hype machine. There's nobody else that's going to do it for you. You're going to get PR from time to time if you're doing something interesting, but sometimes your success may not have been newsworthy, but it's interesting enough for you. Better get on LinkedIn and tell somebody. That's it. And the funny thing is that LinkedIn will pay you back for having a consistent rhythm on LinkedIn. You'll just get more views, which you want, because then people will see you succeeding over and over again, and then they'll want to do business with you. It's very simple. It may feel extremely tedious because you're like, I don't have anything for LinkedIn. I know, I feel the same way sometimes. So I just have to think about it, go find something, go, here's something. And some things are going to take off more than others.
No, I have to agree with you on LinkedIn. I think, I've noticed, you do that. I see that from you. And then even like just some things like, so I'm participating in a conference planning committee, and we start, our point of contact person, started putting this stuff, putting our planning progress. And, sure enough, I start, you notice the views, you notice people reaching out to you. And then I see people reaching out like, hey, just wanted to ask you some questions. And I'm like, it's like, I'm like, just like I said, I think they post probably like I would say once or twice a week. just like letting people know of our progress, and people are reaching out, asking questions. And, since I'm one of the people who is that kind of that resource right now. So, having those conversations, and what it does, I mean, it's not only helping the organization, but even for myself, building your network, which, I continue to emphasize to students, like, you know, get on LinkedIn, meet people, reach out to people, and people will reach out to you. So, even just something simple like that, you see people wanting to, people want to help people generally. And so that's what it is. I mean, we emphasize that to our students, like just something simple like that. And like you've mentioned on, I mean, being your own hype person, just even if you just, hey, I aced my test today. That's fine. People are gonna like celebrate with you. And especially right now, since we can't be close contact with a lot of people, I mean, this is a one way to do it.
I want to add too that this goes back to my branding suggestion. I mean, getting on LinkedIn and getting out there and showing your expertise and giving yourself a high five as well, but showing your expertise about why people want to connect with you in the first place. I mean, that is a huge deal. And that's the first place you should go from a professional standpoint. If you're going to be on these social platforms, definitely do that. And then branch out from there based on whatever your brand is going to be. I think that is just as important as anything else. So I wanted to mirror that with you.
Yeah. And then, since we're in this time, so I want to take a few minutes, like, I know COVID has impacted your work and the way you may do your work. Just, how has it impacted your work? I know it's been roughly a year plus now. So my first part question, how has it impacted your work during this time?
2 words, remote work.
Okay, remote work.
Yep. That's probably the biggest impact from a personnel standpoint. I mean, my current company is completely 100% remote, and they have an office in Boston, and they may go back to it at some point when things kind of open up a little bit more, but it's not required for those of us that don't live in Massachusetts. So remote work has definitely been a different way in which to do business as a company, as a team, as an individual. Since I'm on the data analyst side, it's nice. I've liked the fact that I don't get constant interruptions into my office while I'm trying to concentrate on the data and then report on it. So that's been helpful there. But I would say from a field perspective, though, since the company has a digital platform, a solution for other businesses, well, digital has been around for almost 20 years. So that's never, and it's going to continue to be around. So that's never going to change. What may change is right now, the company I work for provides the only digital solution for companies for whatever the purpose is. But, we're going to have competition at some point, just like anybody else does. And so the digital side will still always be there. The digital marketing will be there, but now it's kind of changed to more of a relational marketing as well, because there's no longer events. You're not flying out to conferences, things like that. So now you've got the other side of who are my contacts? Who am I going to keep in touch with? Who do I need to remind myself to keep in touch with? And, do the relational side, not just the traditional promotional marketing side of what it is that you do. So, so COVID has changed a lot, but I think for our industry, it's actually been beneficial on many, many areas.
I would agree. Remote work has been very interesting for us. We have an extremely large retail space, so remote work became a thing that we supplied, right? So we had to, March 30th was the day that we closed the doors of 2020. And said this is the last day that we're going to be open to the public, and for a while, and we don't know what a while means and how this is going to work. So within about 24 hours, we retooled, used the platform that we've been using for our reviews to be able to continue to communicate with our customers via text and Facebook Messenger. And so we built some new little marketing pieces because we recognized that people were going to need small desks and chairs to work from home. We just knew it. And so we had the storefront closed for 2 months. which is
It's unheard of.
crazy, right? It's unheard of. But we would still come to work every day, masked up. April and May, we were still learning about the virus, how it works, and everything else. And we're very, very serious about our masks and cleaning our hands and everything else. And even to this day, we will call you out. If you're walking around with a mask below your nose, we will walk over and ask you to pick that up. You have to wear the mask here. You have to wear it over your nose. We do not care. We don't care what your reasoning is. It's irrelevant to us because we offer reasonable accommodations. Those are the things that we do. So this is something that I learned from at A&M San Antonio was recognizing reasonable accommodations for people that for whatever reason they say, I cannot wear this. So we offered FaceTime, we offered Google Duo, and we would offer texting. And we continue to make our Facebook Live videos, which ended up skyrocketing because of it. Our Facebook page increased. Now we're about to hit 34,000 fans on the Facebook page. And so because of that, we just understood that we had the right product at the right time. We just had to figure out how to deliver that in a safe way for our team to be able to stay employed and working, and for our customers to feel safe enough to do it, where they could purchase it online. We would put it out on the dock. They'd come check it out and go, oh, I don't like this color green. Do you have a purple one? And we'd run back in, grab the best purple one, run it out, let them try it out outside, and we adapted. And so for 2 months we did that. And then we opened back up in June. And then in August, which was when school was starting again, we made news on all news stations because we did a couple of things. One, if you're a teacher, you bring in a teacher ID, we offered them $20 off any chair. If the chair was $20 or less, it was free. Just walk out with it, show us your ID. And then we forecasted that small desks were going to be an important thing for students and that schools weren't going to happen. So a month prior, we ordered 400 small Herman Miller desks that we sold for $69. And this place looked like a Greyhound bus stop on Saturdays. It was crazy. And all the news, I reached out to all the news stations and said, hey, this is what we're doing for teachers. This is how we're helping students. And they all came out. All of them ran news stories multiple times at different times of the day. And so August was the largest month in the company's history because of that. But it was quickly responding back to reporters, telling them come in. Sometimes we had 2 news stations at once, so they were in separate areas of the store, and I was sitting there doing interviews and then hop over to the other one and check. It was wild. So it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, and also, just you showing, being proactive, like y'all anticipating, like, hey, look, this is, when everything shut down where you're at, but also anticipating, like you mentioned, the August story, like, okay, people are going to be virtual. How can y'all plan ahead? But also, like you said, kind of that back to that, store branding, that personal branding, like, hey, this is what we have. We recognize the problem. Here's our solution for people that need this product. And so definitely all of that on all fronts. And I remember seeing y'all in the news and just thinking like they're doing it. They're ahead of the curve. They're being active, not only for your business, but also serving the community, which is even for the greater good.
I want to add one more thing
Sure,
to that.
go.
If you know that you're going to be in touch with media, I think Twitter's a great place to be in touch with media and just be, casually responding to things that they post or they talk about in a very human way, right? If all you are going to do is razz them about things that they're talking about, maybe create a burner account. Kidding. But that having some level of relationship online, even if they haven't met you, can go a long way, because when you've got an idea to pitch, they already know you're not a creep. And it goes a long way. You're like, oh, this person's been really nice. They've responded back. We've had some, rational conversations back and forth on tweets, and things can happen. And also be quick. During our winter snowstorm, Robin Mead on Headline News had posted about, the snowstorm. Are you in San Antonio experiencing this? I tweeted back a few pictures. Yeah, this is going on. they direct messaged me, can you be on a call? So I did a 3.5-minute interview on national news before my wife woke up. By the time she woke up and I brought her some water, I was like, oh yeah, you should watch this. She goes, when did this happen? I said, about 20 minutes ago while you were still asleep, I was on national news. So be quick, be nice.
First impressions matter. So, what about where we're headed? So I know, Lisa, you mentioned maybe a potential hybrids, but with COVID and this field moving forward, where do you see it, once we start, I guess, getting in the clear, going to whatever the new normal may be? What do you foresee?
I think it depends on industry, honestly. If you have an industry where most of the majority of your employees are in an office situation, I think you can definitely see more of a hybrid approach to that. Some that prefer to work from home, maybe 2 days a week or 3 days a week. Some that want to come into the office. Perhaps, a company meeting is once a quarter. So then, of course, you bring them together for those that want to be together as a company. But for those that still don't feel comfortable being out in public, then perhaps those folks are on like a Zoom call type of a situation. But I think industry is going to determine, honestly, what that hybrid model is going to be like. I think for those that are out in the elements, those that are first responders or those who've been working the grocery stores and gas stations and all those folks, I mean, it's still I don't think that's going to change much. But I think from a business perspective, I see that the model has already been created on how to work remotely. And if your business is successful at it, if your individuals and your teams are successful at it, why not continue that model going forward? Just do it in a way that's best for your particular business. So that's my answer to that question.
I agree. For us, it's retail. We're here. People want to touch the things. They want to see the things. They want to sit on the things that we have, and so it's certainly been interesting, though, because you kind of get a back end view of what's happening in the marketplace, right? Because since we do mostly used items, we're watching things come in, and we're seeing things go out. So one of the things that we've noticed is that summer and fall of last year, nobody was buying guest chairs. So guest chair is just a chair with no wheels on it. Overloaded with those. Nobody had any guests, don't need a guest chair. Now we are wiped out. We have thousands of square feet dedicated to that in the showroom. And the number of guest chairs that we have has dramatically decreased. So what that's telling me is that people are expecting to have guests in some form or fashion in their organization, whether it be a law office, a medical facility, you name it. So people are certainly expecting people to be coming back to their offices and storefronts and places of business in some form or fashion at some near term. I just see that as a market indicators as to how things are moving, because I just watch the stuff move in and out of the store. So I agree with Lisa. I think that there's people are going to come back, and yet I also have friends that work in large organizations here in San Antonio that they go, yeah, I don't know when I'm going back, and this particular place has thousands of employees, and everyone's kind of shrugging their shoulders as to, do we want to try to bring people back and see if more people will come back? But if they don't come back, then nobody wants to come back. There's a chicken and egg situation that's going on there. But at least in small to mid-sized companies, it looks like there are more people that are expected to show up at offices and places of business than previous 6 months.
And I want to add to that too, in the sense that for those that are in charge of office rental of space or buying of commercial real estate, I think that market's going to see an interesting flux. There are going to be some businesses that are so comfortable being remote that they're going to want to get rid of that extra expense of commercial real estate and an actual office building. And there's going to be some that are going to need to downsize because they have enough employees that are working remotely, that are comfortably working remotely. It's working for them. It's working for their business. So why have that, 5-story building? So I think from that perspective too, you're looking at a definite difference. So I would definitely pay attention to real estate market, commercial real estate market over the next 6, 8, 12 months to see how that's going to change as well. But from the standpoint of industry, in business, in office settings, you're going to see some different changes and different models for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think, we'll start to see that. And I think kind of like what you mentioned too, Nan, I think a lot of the the smaller local businesses, they try, they're going to try to want to make up from this period of time just as best as they can. And it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. So I know we're approaching our time, so give y'all like a minute or so, but what, for students who are looking to this field, looking for experience, looking to pursue this field further, what are some tidbits of advice you have for them? So, like I said, I'll give y'all a minute, but what words do you have?
I'll start off.
Okay.
I would have to say a couple of things. Make sure you're taking the right courses that pertain not just to your major, but perhaps that pertain to what you think you may want to do in the future, even if it's not major related. Like I mentioned before, I was an educator, but I wish I would have taken courses in public speaking. Thankfully, as an educator, you're always in front of people anyway, so you're learning the skill, but I wish I would have taken courses in that. So I would expand on the skill levels that the students are looking at in terms of the courses they're taking. I would also look at becoming members of various organizations within their community that pertain to their career goals and advancement. So if that is like, from a digital media marketing side, there might be a marketing club that's right downtown in San Antonio, or there might be one that's on campus or something like that, but become a part of that and learn from industry execs that are already in those types of clubs to get a better understanding of whether or not that's the right direction you want to go in, or if perhaps you want to advance further in that direction. And then my last piece of advice would be to get a mentor. Even if you're a senior in college or you're getting your first job out of college, get a mentor that can help you understand how to do your job better. I'll give you an example from a social media side. A lot of companies used to hire interns to do their social media often. And now, if you notice, that's few and far between, because companies are needing individuals that have a little bit more experience than that. So what I would suggest is, if you're going to get your first job out of college, then make sure that you mentor with somebody who can show you the ropes on how whatever that job is that you're doing can be done, and done even better than they would want to expect as a new employee for that company. So mentorship, taking the right classes, and becoming involved in community organizations that make sense for what they're looking to do. Those are my pieces of advice.
I think those are great. I 100% agree with you. Pick up an internship to also, work on your network as well. I think that's a great opportunity for you, and expect to read for the rest of your life. Read books, read lots of books, and read books in what you're trying to learn about, and then read books that don't have anything to do with it, because they're going to create new ideas. The way that our minds kind of build creative new ideas is by taking things that we understand and also things that we don't understand, and putting those things together in interesting ways. You may end up sleeping on it, taking a shower and going, oh my gosh, this all came together. Yep, Seth, absolutely. My face is in that book. Big magic. Oh yes, Elizabeth Gilbert. There you go. So read books. Yes. See, there's great books about all sorts of stuff, right? Whether it's going to be marketing and team building. You follow those people on Twitter, follow them on LinkedIn. You've got great guys that are doing interesting stuff, that they're writing all sorts of fun things and ways to think about the world that may be outside of the business that you're working on. So, Adam Grant is doing some really cool stuff. Simon Sinek, people love that guy, and Seth Godin, right? Like these are just a few that came into mind. Tom Peters is really out there. That's been doing some cool stuff, because Tom Peters has been doing this for 186 years, right? He's just the man has been doing it forever. But it's very interesting. He's a super smart guy, and he's just right now. He said, I'm dedicating my new book only to women, just to make a statement so you get where I'm going. Right? He's super serious about it. He's a great follow on Twitter, and you can reply to him. He will respond to you. And if he thinks you're an idiot, he will tell you so and tell you why. So don't be shy. You should respond to Tom Peters. He's pretty great.
Well, great advice, and thank you both for sharing and your time today. So students, hopefully you tune into this and continue to tune into our series. You've got wonderful people in these fields. Again, Lisa, Nan, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your experience, your wisdom, and just your tidbits of advice. So thank you again. And students, again, this is just for you. So hopefully you can tune in, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.